Katipunan 87.9 FM.
Kapamilya, meron bang mga suliraning bumabagabag sa iyong isipan? Kung kayo ay may pinagdadaanan sa buhay, sa pamilya o karelasyon, huwag mangamba. Dahil wala namang bagay na hindi nasosolusyonan ng mabuting usapan. Tumutok na sa Usapang Kapatid kasama sina Father Nono Alfonso SJ at si Miss Ilsa Reyes at tatalakayin ang mga isyu ng simbahan at lipunan tuwing Sabado, alas 11 ng gabi sa DZMM sa 6:30 at Teleradyo. Tumawag lang po kayo sa 416-6300. Maaari nyo rin kaming i-text sa DZMM space react space your concerns at isend sa 2366 o mag-iwan ng mensahe sa ating FB page. Problema? Usapan lang yan, kapamilya! To listen to music that uplifts the soul, follow JustCom PH on Spotify and JustCom Music on YouTube. Our music is also available on iTunes and Deezer. Are you seeking His wisdom? Do you wish to hear the living and enduring truth? The Word Exposed features Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle's reflections and insights on the Sunday Scriptures. Listen to the first and second readings as well as the Sunday Gospel like never before, down to earth, crystal clear, awe-inspiring, and yet simple to understand and appreciate. In just an hour on the day of the Lord, let the teachings of the Word renew your life. The Word Exposed airs every Sunday from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. on ABS-CBN Sports and Action and 6 o'clock a.m. to 7 o'clock a.m. on ABS-CBN News Channel. You can also follow The Word Exposed on TV Maria, Salt and Light Eye Catholic TV, Shalom TV, and Telecare in the United States.
Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan. The Voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpa at tama. Buhay Atenista sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero sugo, todo sa kayod, punong at tulong. Lipad na Blue Eagle, galing giting at tigil, blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan.
Lead X. X is for the extracurricular life of the Ateneo College students. X is for the X factor that transforms them into leaders, into men and women for others. X is for Lead X. Lead X.
Down from the hill.
Good morning, Ateneo. You are tuned in to Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM and we are Lead X. This is the show brought to you by the Loyola School's Office of Student Activities, where we talk about everything within the world of student activities, student leadership, and student organization life here in the Loyola Schools. Magandang Monday morning po sa ating lahat. I am Neil Reyes and with me, coming back for the first time since kailan ba?
Sobrang tagal na.
Oo. We have my co-formator from LS OSA, Mr. Justin Viray. Good morning, Sir Justin.
Hello, good morning po sa ating lahat.
Yan, oo. Tagal mo na, hindi ko na maalala kung kailan ka nga huling nakasama namin dito sa
Oo
Lead X.
nga, oo.
Baka last year pa.
Baka yun pa yung pa-birthday special natin kay Sir Tats.
Ay, oo. Di ano pa yun? May pa yun.
May pa ba yun?
Well,
Oo nga. Okay.
Ayan.
Last year.
So welcome back, Sir Justin.
Thank you.
Good morning po muli sa lahat po ng mga nanonood at nakikinig po sa amin over at 87.9 on your FM bands and at facebook.com/Radyo Katipunan, and we're also simulcast over at facebook.com/Ateneo.osa. Today nga po is September 23, 2019, and we are at our second to the last Monday. Tama ba? Second to the last Monday for the month of September, and we are 93 days away
Yun, sabi ko na
Christmas. Siyempre, may sarili
Pa-countdown din tayo
may sarili tayong pa-countdown dito. No? Yung unahan natin lagi yung 24 oras mamayang gabi. Hulaan ko po. Sasabihin ni Mel Chanco mamayang gabi sa 24 oras. Yung 93 days na. Ay, Pasko na. Hinulaan ko yung last week. Sabi ko 100 days away. Ayan. Oo. Ikaw ba, Sir Justin, ano bang mga pinaghahandaan mo ngayong papalapit ng Pasko?
Ito, mga family trips, syempre yan. As early as now, di ba? As early as September, kailangan agahan na tayo nagpaplano, agahan na tayo nag-iisip kung saan natin talaga gusto pumunta, di ba? Tsaka gawin lahat ng mga kailangan gawin, di ba? And getting everyone who wants to go, kumbaga, because it's the perfect chance for family gatherings, family reunions. Ewan ko sa'yo, baka may ganun din kayo mga plans.
Oo, ganun din. Kasi, di ba, sabi mo nga na hindi naman parang araw-araw nakikita mo yung loved ones mo, relatives mo, especially your relatives if you have relatives from parang are based now abroad, di ba, sa ibang bansa. Kaya magandang panahon talaga. At sana nga po, medyo agahan na natin yung paghahanda dahil ayaw nating maabutan ng Christmas rush. Yung mga, although hindi talaga natin maiiwasan yung mga last minute shopping, ayan, di ba? Pero bukod doon, no, sa halip ng mga Christmas rush, sana lagi natin sinasabi na sana hindi natin makalimutan ang tunay na diwa ng Pasko. Ayan. Ngayon ngang 93 days away na lang tayo. Marami na rin nagaganap dito sa loob ng Loyola schools. Last week po, kung maalala nyo po, nagkaroon po tayo ng isang class suspension, no? Parang nagbibili na tayo ng quota ng mga class suspension buong week, no? We had one class suspension last week. Yeah, I think it was last Tuesday. But despite that, no, buong linggo, last week maulan talaga.
Maulan, grabe, as in.
Oo. Siguro parang pinakamaulan nga yata was last Monday. I was actually parang waiting on the wings for a class suspension last Monday, but to my surprise personally, dito sa Quezon City walang naganap na class suspension. It was Tuesday when classes were suspended. And dahil nga sa mga ulan-ulan na yan, we supposedly were to have our university-wide emergency drills last Wednesday, September 18, which was postponed. Wasn't cancelled, postponed po to a later date. Hindi lang namin sigurado kung kailan. Actually, hindi ko alam. Hindi ko sigurado
baka
kung kailan.
October?
Sometime
October.
in October, matutuloy po yung ating university-wide emergency drills. Dahil kailangan po natin yan, no? Sabi nga natin 2 Fridays ago na naramdaman natin. Well, actually, hindi namin naramdaman. Pero, hindi natin naramdaman yung, di ba, yung dalawang...
Parang yesterday lang siya.
Oo, no?
Oo, di ba? Nasa tayo nun lahat, di ba? Tayo nasa Escalaire tayo, na Escalaire Hall.
Yes.
Di ba? Wala tayo sa mga lungga natin. Tapos biglang, whoop!
Bigla na lang may evacuation.
Yes.
May announcement ng evacuation. And then we had to, eventually the university had to announce a campus shutdown. That meant that everyone within the campus, the Loyola Heights campus, had to evacuate the premises of the university at umuwi na sa kani-kanyang mga tahanan. Hindi ko nga lang alam kung ano bang nangyari. Baka from a dormer's perspective, ano bang nangyari nun?
Well, I wasn't there, pero usually yan nangyayari sa dorm kasi wala silang ibang tirahan, di ba?
Oo.
So kailangan
Sa dorm
doon
sila
lang din
nakatira.
sila. Wala nga namang mag-campus shutdown tapos aalis sila,
Oo.
di ba? Wala silang mapuntahan. So usually yan, ang ginagawa nila, they have their own evacuation area assigned. Doon lang sa may harap ng Cervini Field.
Okay.
Diba? Kaya meron doon yung mga signboards na parang N1, ganyan, N2.
Okay.
Ganun. Makikita nyo yon kasi those are really for emergency purposes.
Okay. Ngayon ko na nalaman. Actually.
Ganon. Sa mga rooms, yan. Floors pala. Sa mga floors ng particular buildings, ito yung assignment mo. Ganon. So at least alam nila kagad. Tapos
Kung
nandun
saan
na
sila
rin yung
pupunta.
poste. Oo.
So ito yung mga signages na parang lagay dun sa Cervini
Oo, doon na
Field.
talaga siya. Oo, di ba? Convenient, no? Talaga wala ka na kailangan dalhin. So, titignan mo na lang kung nasaan yon, di ba? Tapos
Okay,
pila ka na
okay.
lang doon. And then
Yan.
after nun, I think ang ano nila, meron silang parang campsite, kumbaga, in any event na parang kailangan they're really out of the building.
Yeah,
Parang sa Bellarmine Field, ganyan. So, magsiset up ng mga tents, ganoon, di ba? Magset up kayo ng mga supplies dyan, mga ice chest. So, at least meron silang pagsistayan, may tents sila. Dun sa malaking, field sa Bellarmine. Oo.
Kaya di ba? Kaya mahalaga rin talaga that we pay attention and we take seriously our emergency drills dahil sa mga oras nga ng yung actual incident like what happened 2 Fridays ago, kailangan alam mo kailangan you're prepared, you're ready to parang to respond to the emergencies kahit man lang hindi parang we're not all expected to rescue people or to look for parang to join the search and rescue teams. Pero just the fact that you go to the proper evacuation areas and follow the proper protocols, makakatulong ka na kasi you get out of the way ng search and rescue team actually, di ba? Kaya mas marami tayong mga buhay na maisasalba when we know what we should do during emergency situations. Kaya yun po, again, the university-wide emergency drills that was supposed to happen last Wednesday, September 18, is postponed to a later date. So abang-abang na lang po tayo sa announcements kung kailan ang emergency drills na yan.
Yeah, but also when it happens, hopefully you guys take it seriously. Ako lagi I take it seriously kasi parang you never know what could happen, diba? So at least ikaw parang automatic. You know where to go, you know parang what to do, you know what's the protocol, diba? Kung ibig sabihin ng shelter in place.
Dapat alam mo kung ano yun, diba?
Parang yung iba, alala ko yung ibang mga freshies na nakausap ko sa door, parang what's that, diba?
Yun.
Shelter in place, diba? Pero may ibig sabihin pala yun na importante, diba?
Kasi nga iba-iba, di ba, yung announcements that we can hear over the PA system, yung shelter in place, campus shutdown. So, may iba-iba siyang protocols na sinusunod, processes na kailangan yung gawin. So, it's good that you know what to do when you hear those announcements over the PA system.
Yes.
Yun nga, para hindi mo na itatanong na pag sinabing shelter in place, ano yun, di ba? Alright. Okay. So, magandang umaga po muli sa mga nakikinig at nanonood po sa atin over at facebook.com facebook.com/Radyo Katipunan. At ngayon po, ngayong araw po na ito, we will be joined by representatives from the main organizers of what happened last Friday. Last Friday po, nagkaroon po tayo nung tinatawag na Youth Strike for Climate Change, di ba? Kung napansin nyo po, students were gathered at the MVP lobby and they marched out to Gate 2.5 where they spoke to the streets, no, about the advocacy of the awareness of climate change, di ba? Dahil mahalaga nga naman yan. Kanina nga lang pinag-uusapan natin, di ba, na buong last week maulan, ngayon walking to the studio from the Loyola schools, ang init. Parang hindi na natin masyado maintindihan kung ano ba ang nangyayari sa ating panahon, no? Kaya I think it's timely that we had that mobilization last Friday, di ba? Kaya in a little while we will be joined by three of our friends from the Sanggunian and from the Ateneo Environmental Science Society para pag-usapan kung ano-ano ba ang mga naganap at maaari pang abangan in the coming days. So dyan lang po kayo. Lead X will be right back.
Between the earth and sky, now all is still where Loyola's colors fly. Our courses run and the setting sun ends Ateneo's day. Eyes are dry at the last goodbye. This is the Ateneo way.
And there was another drive-by shooting.
The fire we reported at the fire hall is still burning out. Do you sometimes feel confused or lost in the complications and complexities of life? Do you feel drained, listless, or exhausted from the daily burdens and responsibilities? Why not seek our campus ministers on air every Tuesday from 2 to 3 in the afternoon? Listen to our counselors from the Loyola School's Campus Ministry Office as they ground our lives in our faith, in our school's spiritual tradition. Campus Ministers on Air. Be guided, be inspired, be blessed. Listen to our campus ministers on air. Rejoice, refresh, renew, and reflect. Join us for an hour of music that uplifts the soul. Listen to your favorite Jesuit music ministry artists. This is JMM Radio. JMM Radio. Get your day's dose of inspirational music. Tune in to JMM Radio every Wednesday from 1 to 2 p.m. Only here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Lead X. X is for the extracurricular and co-curricular life of the Ateneo College students. X is for the X factor that transforms them into leaders, into men and women for others. X is for Lead X. Lead X.
Down from the hill,
You're still tuned in to Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM, and we are Lead X, the show brought to you by the Loyola School's Office of Student Activities. At ngayon nga po ay binabati po muna namin ang mga nanonood sa amin via our Facebook Live. Ayan, si Ma'am Jen. Good morning, Ma'am Jen. Sir Ino.
Serino.
Enjoy. Ayan, at sa mga nanonood at nakikinig sa amin along Katipunan dahil medyo matraffic ngayon. Along Katipunan, well, wala namang bago doon. At dyan sa mga nakikinig sa amin over in Tagaytay, wow. Dahil naabot tayo sa Tagaytay, di ba na nakita natin yun? Sa Tagaytay, pero pag papuntang Tagaytay, hindi ka maririnig. No? Sa Tagaytay lang. Kailangan mataas. Ayan. Okay. Again, like I said, we are now joined by our guests from the Sanggunian and from the Ateneo Environmental Science Society. Sir Justin, sino-sino ba ang mga kasama natin this morning?
Okay, so sa ASS, no, we have our very own president. Yes, tawan-tawa siya, si Miss Kit Kat po. No, mag-hello ka naman.
Hi, Kit Kat. Good morning.
Hello.
Okay, and then with her companion, I think part of the officers din sa AESS naman din, si Tafsi Yap. Ayan.
Ayan. Ayan.
Hello.
Ayan. And of course, coming back, we are
Coming back.
our co-host, the Vice President of the Sanggunian ng mga mag-aaral, ng mga parang Loyola. Please welcome back, Mr. JB Beharin. Good morning, JB.
Good morning po sa inyong lahat.
Ayan. Before we start, baka meron kayong mga gustong batiin na
Sir
nakikinig sa atin
Chance.
ngayon. No? KitKat, meron ba?
I'd like to thank you. Siguro shoutout lang to ASS kasi right now they're actually preparing for Tambay Week for our members. So I also told them to listen. Sana nakikinig sila na yun kasi this is your shoutout, guys. So thank you for preparing for Tambay Week and for making sure that our members have a great time throughout this week.
Ayan, no. Good morning, ASS staff. Sino namang ikaw? Okay, good morning, ASS. Yun nga. Ang Tambay Week nyo ay saan?
Sa Colayco.
Sa Colayco. Kayo pa lang nasa Colayco this week. Kayo maingay,
Last week kasi.
Okay. JB, ikaw?
Ako naman gusto kong batiin yung everyone from Sanggu. I know you're all in class. Pero kung na-chance upon nyo yung Radyo Katipunan, chance upon naman. And see you sa GA welcoming assembly natin sa Leong on the 30th, Monday. So may patinapay tsaka pakape tayo doon.
Di pupunta na sila.
Pumunta tayo.
Oo nga. Yan, good morning din sa Sanggu at sa mga nakasama namin ni JB last Saturday dun sa workshop. Mamaya pwede natin mapag-usapan yun. Alright. Before we went on a gap, we were talking about youth strike for climate change. No? This happened last Friday, and I think it was a gathering of the Sanggunian, ASS led by the two organizations, by the two groups, but it was attended actually by several other groups. Okay. And it was headed by parang ang kasama niyo dito ay ang Youth Strike for Climate Philippines, no? Siguro from AESS, ano ba ang background? What is the story behind this movement? Kasi ako personally lang, it was I think the first time that I heard about it.
Yes, same.
So kayo ba from your organization of this?
Actually, the global climate strike is a global mass movement that involves more than 150 countries around the globe striking for the same cause, which is demanding for climate action and climate justice from the government, from businesses, and also from society.
And it actually started out with a Swedish environmental activist named Greta Thunberg.
Okay.
She was only 15 last year when she every Friday she would strike and go on a strike and hold out a sign outside the Swedish parliament to demand for action from her government. And she inspired so many other people from different countries to also follow what she was doing. That from a year after that, there are so many people who are supporting her, and they came up with the whole global climate strike from September 20 to 27.
Alright.
The reason why it's like a week long, or there are like two highlighted dates, was because September 20 was exactly 3 days before the UN climate summit in New York. So they wanted to really tackle that. So some countries wanted to move during September 20, then some also wanted on 27. So it became like a whole week thing from 150 countries all fighting for the same cause.
Alright. So you mean some of the countries went on strike last September 20, but some are still going to go on strike on the 27th. Okay. You mentioned 150 countries. Have sino-sino to? Sino-sino tong countries na to?
It's all over the globe talaga. So there are countries from Asia, us, Japan, even from Africa, South Africa, from Kenya, ganun. And actually here in the Philippines, we have different locations and strikes.
oo
So
nga.
we had like in Iloilo and Cebu, if I'm not mistaken. And I think, of course, they also had the larger strikes in the West, so
Yes.
in America, in Europe, and I think that also plays a huge role, because considering that those countries actually produce more than we produce as a developing country, so it's good that they're also participating in the strike, because it shows that they're also aware of the effects that come from those particular countries, as opposed to us. Even though the Philippines contributes to the least amount of greenhouse gas emissions, we are the most vulnerable.
Yeah.
Naman.
Oo, kasi parang even if we parang compared to the developed countries in the West siguro na siguro more industrialized than us, we are parang we are partners with most of them. Diba? Some of their companies, siguro some of their factories are here. Kaya yun nga, tama si KitKat na we're one of the more vulnerable ones, diba? One of the more vulnerable countries to be exploited, quote unquote, no? Oo. From the Sanggunian's perspective naman, di ba? You are in partnership with the Sanggunian in the organization of this strike last Friday. Ano ba, what is Sanggu's take in organizing this strike with ASS?
Definitely. Sanggu was also approached by Youth Strike and other groups. It's actually a very long story getting to the strike last Friday, and some people know that story. But then getting there naman, and speaking for Kiel, since sila talaga yung nagtrabaho for this.
Yes.
It's really a cause that we all need to support, I guess. Since Sanggu doesn't only support local issues naman, but also issues that are global in perspective. Since at the end of the day, like what you said nga, sir, environmental degradation affects all countries, especially the Philippines. And for us to join this youth strike along with other parts of our country, it's an important statement, I guess. Parang yung joining lang mismo is a statement in itself.
Yeah.
Parang even besides, parang masaya na nga tayo na kinover tayo ng Rappler ng other media organizations. But then besides that, parang it wasn't really for parang mass mobilizing talaga. But it was just really the act. Kasi I remember Kiel telling me the story na nung start, parang 10 to 20 lang yung nanggaling sa MVP. Walking on Red Brick Road. But then, nung biglang pagdating sa 2.5, bigla daw dumami yung tao.
Oo. I saw it kasi I was there and I was observing, yun nga, parang around mga 10, 15 people gathered in the lobby ng MVP who walked to 2.5, but once the crowd got to 2.5, dumadami yung mga tao. And I think it's kasi it resonates with a lot of people, di ba? Lalo na when you bring in the argument that when we don't take care of our environment, it will have an impact. Parang the global impact is mawawalan tayo ng mundo. Di ba? Yun yung ano Ako sa akin, I mean, it's a pretty scary thought, no?
Yes.
That if we don't take care of our environment, we'll eventually have no environment to take care of, actually, no? In the future. Pero how did have you have any idea kung paano nangyari naman yung ibang movements across the country? Nabalitaan nyo ba? If for example yung nabanggit mo kanina, KitKat, yung from Iloilo and other parts?
I think for other parts in the country, it wasn't as big. I mean, I guess it was as big as the one we had in Ateneo as well. Like the same number of people went, and they were also involving other organizations around the country, because it's not just actually because we partnered with the Youth Strike for Climate Philippines, but there are also other youth advocate groups that are around the Philippines who also help in mobilizing the people. So there's not much of a big difference, but you can see that other locations also had their own kind of gimmick in the youth strike, to make it more interesting and to make it to catch more attention. So yeah.
Speaking of making it more interesting, I believe something happened in UP naman, di ba? In UP Diliman.
You went there right after our strike sa 2.5, di ba? So tell us what happened about yung nangyari sa UP.
So actually, kasi unfortunately we weren't able to stay in CHR, Commission of Human Rights, because we had class kami ni Kiel, so we had
students first.
But we did march all the way there from Ateneo. But as far as I know, the program was that actually they had it there in CHR, and Sir Chito Gascon, he gave a speech about how climate change is actually related to human rights. And a lot of people actually arrived also, even younger people, like high school students, grade school, they were also there, and they were all striking there. So that was one part of the program also that we partnered with.
Ang ganda no? I mean, ang ganda nung correlation between environment and human rights. Kasi parang ito na yung parang kung meron man tayong foundational human right, ito yun di ba? We have the right to a safe and secure environment, a safe and secure planet, di ba? That kung hindi nga natin aalagaan, we wouldn't have any environment, any planet at all in the future. I remember seeing online one of the signs yata, hindi ko alam tama ba, parang a picture from the guy doon, I think, na nakalagay doon sa sign na there is no planet B. Hindi ko alam kung doon ko nakita sa talaga. Yun. Tama, di ba? Unless we have parang an exploratory voyage ng kung ano man na meron pa talagang meron nga ba? Hindi ko alam ako, hindi rin ako expert, pero hindi ko alam kung meron nga ba talagang ganon. Pero tama nga. Siguro moving forward naman, well, you mentioned na sa September 27 meron pang iba pang movements, pero siguro for ASS in particular, meron bang mga upcoming projects or events connected to Youth Strike?
I guess our own projects as the org will serve as the follow-ups to the strike, because even though we planned it ahead and all that, it's still very relevant because it has that aspect of educating and informing people, which is very important because post-strike we actually got a lot of comments, mixed comments, mixed opinions about us as students striking and actually the advocacy itself. So actually those kinds of comments made us realize that we have a lot to work on in terms of informing people about what the climate crisis is right now. And so that's what we're aiming to do, and that's what we're trying to achieve through our own projects naman. So ayun, I guess that's kind of a way to still be in line with the strike.
Yeah. Kasi gano'n naman talaga, di ba, na may masasabi naman talaga yung ibang mga tao. Pero kasi if you think about it, environmental education has always been there. People have always been saying that our planet is deteriorating. It's aging day by day.
May countdown pa nga, di ba?
Oo, di ba? Kung hindi natin alam kung gaano ka-accurate yung countdown na yun.
You've been seeing articles all around, di ba? Parang there's always been a mention of countdown natin, ito na lang yung natitira.
Oo, di ba?
Ewan ko na lang kung hindi na nakakatakot yun, right?
Kaya nga eh. And the curious thing is, andyan na siya, andyan na yung warning, and even the warning signs, di ba? Even our temperature is hotter today than, for example, 10 years ago or 20 years ago. And yet, people still don't take the necessary steps or take the necessary actions to help in saving the planet. So, di ba, from time to time, I think it's it's just proper siguro na kailangan natin sumigaw eh, kasi I mean ASS as an organization can only do so much to educate people about what's happening in our environment, to our environment. Pero kung hindi naman sila nakikinig, di ba? Yun nga, parang metaphorically, you really have to shout. You have to yell about it, di ba?
Yeah. I think people actually forget that we're just students. And then, being students, we have limited power in what we can do.
Yes.
Despite wanting to do a lot. So that's why we're trying to call out other institutions for cooperation with us, because yes, we're young, we're students, but we also pay attention to what's happening to our planet. We see the news online, we see everything. So we want to be able to share to the world that this is something that you cannot turn a blind eye to anymore, and that we have to work collectively so that drastic change can come, because only change with that kind of magnitude that we want can only come from the cooperation of everyone around the globe, even the government and big corporations.
Tama. Oo nga. JB, you want to say something?
I guess personally it's a learning experience for me yung youth strike. I mean hearing it being planned. Kasi I was in the sidelines when it was being met upon. Parang I didn't even get to go nung strike itself because I had class. So, but then hearing you guys, seeing the social media threads about it. Kasi I'm used to mobilizations on parang Philippine local issues. But then hearing about this, parang I think it's about time also. Kasi reflecting back on the point of holding protests, parang it's really to break the status quo or like parang disrupt talaga. Kasi like sabi nga ni Sir Neil, matagal naman na tayong sinasabi na climate change is happening, but then we seem to be stuck somewhere in trying to solve it. So I guess this is just necessary.
Oo.
And to add into that, there's also actually one of the goals also in the global climate strike. Like if you look at the main website as well, the international one, they also mentioned that if it's understandable if you cannot strike because some people cannot go on a day without working because they won't have food, or they might get fired by their boss. But there are other ways to also participate in the strike by even just sharing about the whole event or talking about it with friends and family to also spread more awareness, because I think that's also the main goal, that people should just realize and like wake up, like this is it's like an emergency, this is what's happening. So it's okay like if people weren't able to go to the strike, but at least if some people are actually informed, that's also makes the strike successful.
Yeah, and it makes the protest parang it makes the protest, quote unquote, an everyday a habit, di ba?
Yes.
Protest can be yung the everyday decision to use more sustainable materials for certain projects or for your everyday use, di ba? Parang this protest, what happened in 2.5 last Friday is just one manifestation of it. Pero, di ba, you can protest every day. You can strike every day, sabi nga ni Tafsi, no? By changing your lifestyle, diba? Changing the way you use materials around the house or around your workplace at kung saan-saan pa. Kaya yun, it's a scary future if we don't act soon.
But siguro to come from that, no, I think hearing the stories parang meron talagang nangyayari sa Metro Manila, may nangyayari sa Iloilo, ganyan, and all across the globe. Parang it gives you a sense of comfort na parang yeah, we're doing a lot here, but also other people are also doing what they can. Diba? And that gives a sense of comfort that in whatever everyday protest that you get to do, most likely meron ding ibang nakikibahagi doon. There are other people who are also partaking of that, and parang that gives you, hopefully, diba? And even the others, all the more inspiration and the drive to at least learn more about it. Kumbaga, learn more about parang what's this talk about sustainability, about environment. Diba? And hopefully being able to yun nga, share to everyone around them, you know, why we really need to step up and do what we can to save our planet Earth from ano ba, may target ano talaga di ba?
It's just, parang it's not
years.
just about the ano, di ba? Not just about the number of people who showed up during the strike, but siguro the number of people you reached because of the strike. So kahit konti nga, kahit iilan lang yung mga tao doon. I mean, marami relatively, pero kahit na iilan lang, parang the more we spread the awareness, the advocacy, the more people we reach, siguro the more effective what happened last Friday can be. Ayan. Speaking naman of other events and mobilizations, di ba? Last Saturday was the 47th commemoration of the declaration of martial law. It was September 21. When former President Marcos signed the declaration of martial law. And this afternoon, ano mangyayari, JB?
So basically nung Saturday, kwento ko lang na rin. Parang Sanggu had a socio-political formation workshop. Yun, sila Sir Neely yung naging kasangga namin in planning it. Basically, that was just to better aid student leaders from Sanggu in responding to the national situation. And like what we talked about after na with sila Sir Neil, it needs to be sustained. Kasi parang it can't stop with Sanggu also. Kasi like what we saw with youth strike, everything can be political, and all our advocacies can be pushed through in a political way. But yung this afternoon nga, it's just part of yung sustained action, which is it's a mobilization now naman for the commemoration of the 47th anniversary of martial law. When we were making yung concept note for it, we were having a hard time grasping ano ba talaga yung pinupunto nung rally, kasi parang there's now a new mentality of having the deeper, parang discovering talaga yung reasons why we go to protest. Is it really just to shout there? Or ano yung patutunguhan nung pagsigaw? Kasi like what KitKat said nga, some people tend to oppose na what are the students doing, striking on the street, something like that. But then what we put on paper and what we discovered was this protest is first to commemorate the sacrifices of the Filipino people during that time. And hindi lang yung mga namatay, pero pati yung mga ordinaryong Pilipino na who went through that time. Kasi I remember my mom telling me na, remember noon, parang pinapakanta kami ng bagong lipunan araw-araw, bago yung national anthem, pinapapila kami, ganun. Mga ganung kwento yung gusto naming lumabas. Kasi, though 47 years na yung nakaraan, patuloy pa rin yung pagkalat ng disinformation about the topic. And I guess, like what Kit Kat said, it's important for the youth to have a statement on it. Especially na kahit hindi kami galing nung time na yon, alam namin na ito yung facts. May mga namatay, mali yung mga pangyayari. So, feel free to join us. Activity R naman, so kung wala kayong ORG-GA. Tsaka sa lahat ng members of the LS community and Ateneo community and everyone in Katipunan, we'll be marching from MVP building steps, so sa may lobby at 5. So, dun yung gathering. So, 5 to 5:15, yun na yung papunta dun sa gate 2.5. So by 5:15, we will be starting the program until 6:30. So I'd just like to remind rin yung mga pupunta na we're not just there to shout, but we're there to listen, to interact with the people who are there. Kasi mixed usually yung crowd like of old people and younger people. So maybe venture out also in hearing the different sides. And again, parang protest doesn't stop there naman. Parang it's always a sustained action. So parang the question after the protest should be what's next.
Hindi, tsaka rin, di ba? Yun, nabanggit mo ulit, JB, yung nabanggit kanina ni Kit Kat at Dafsi na marami talagang masasabi ang mga tao. Siguro the most common thing that is said about commemorating martial law is wala naman kayo nun, di ba? Parang hindi nyo naman nakita, hindi nyo naman naranasan. Even myself, wala pa ako nun.
Lahat tayo.
Wala pa naman. Pero ang gusto ko sa nabanggit mo, we stick to the facts. Okay? Because experience is relative, experience is subjective. Ganun talaga may ibang mga tao na siguro despite the conditions of the society during martial law na ganun, sila medyo okay, quote unquote, during martial law, but that doesn't mean na walang ibang mga taong naapektuhan. Hindi ibig sabihin that people did not suffer. So we stick to the facts, and the facts are there. Kailangan nating sabi mo nga, kailangan lang natin pagkwentuhan. Paminsan-minsan, like what will happen this afternoon, kinakailangan talagang isigaw. Kailangan lang talagang sabihin ng mas malakas ang mga katotohanan. Pero hindi naman nawawala ang mga katotohanan, nandyan lang sila. So siguro, just like the issue on climate change, protests like this is siguro geared towards opening the minds of the people, not even just the people who will be there, but yun nga, the people who are reached because of this. Bukod ba sa Sanggu, sino-sino ba ang mga kasama ninyo ditong mga grupo at opisina rin?
We're working with OSCE, so Office of Social Concern and Involvement. Thank you po sa tulong ninyo. We're also working with USAD and ASS Sanggu.
Yeah, wow.
Oh.
Dahil
yung mga
one Sanggu nga, di ba?
One Sanggu senior high. And yun din, anyone can join naman. Parang sinasabi ko nga, misconception na you need to stay for the whole protest. You can just chance upon. Then just observe, listen. Kasi life is an opening experience naman.
Oo. Hindi naman nga yun. Hindi naman kailangan na, actually kung kunyari kahit na hindi kayo naniniwala dun sa protesta, pundahan nyo lang. Sabi ko nga during a protest, you just need to keep an open mind eh. Kung pupunta ka doon na sarado na yung isip mo, wala ring effect. And this goes for even for the people who believe in the protest, di ba? To keep an open mind pa rin, to listen, dialogue. Pero of course, you need to hold on to your principles. Talagang nandyan yan. And yun nga, nabanggitan ni JB kanina yung nangyari last Saturday. We had the social political formation workshop for the Sanggunian. Initially for the Sanggunian, tingnan natin, maybe we can offer it to other organizations. So ako personally, I would like to thank Ken Abante for co-organizing this workshop, for Manuel Angulo of Simbaang Lingkod ng Bayan. Maraming salamat for bringing the star-studded set of speakers to speak before the Sanggunian para yun nga to sharpen their skills, para mahasa pa ng mabuti yung mga yung mga ginagawa ninyo sa Sanggunian.
And yun nga, parang dun sa planning po, eventually we want to reach as many Ateneans as possible. Kasi in order for us to really push for advocacies, we need to find the avenues that can let us get there. And with turmoil in the political situation, it's really hard to push for it. So we really need to get Ateneans involved one way or another.
Okay. So speaking of getting Ateneans involved, from ASS, meron ba kayong siguro parting messages, parting words as we close for for the student body na nakikinig sa atin ngayon?
I guess to all those who participated in the strike last Friday, thank you. And also to those who weren't able to participate, it's fine. There are still other alternatives that you can choose and still engage in calling for climate action. And also don't forget to inform yourself and inform others as well about what the problem is and how you can help in calling out change.
Tafsi?
Same rin, it's really important to try to spark all these conversations with family members, maybe like some people that who may be super against what the cause is for the protests, but that what as I mentioned earlier, it's better to keep an open mind and still engage in discourse even though they're opposing sides.
Yeah, siguro yun nga. Keep an open mind and inform yourself. Sabi nga ni KitKat, mahalaga to educate ourselves sa mga nangyayari. Look at both sides or all sides to the story. Kung higit sa dalawa ang panig, no? Dahil marami na nga nasasabi about it, pero it's really best to educate ourselves with the situation and what we can do to mitigate the situation.
Yeah, it's really the best starting point. Education, information. Kasi alam mo na anong gagawin afterwards.
Oo. Parang nabanggit nga natin at the start, yung kahit yung pakikisama lang sa emergency drills, yung taking the emergency drills seriously. Kahit na-announced yung time, di ba? Huwag lalabas ng campus, di ba? JB, about later, siguro parting messages and invitation.
Yun nga. So we'd like to invite everyone again who would just like to hear the stories from an era that seems distant but is really not. It's the commemoration of the 47th anniversary of martial law. So nasa MVP steps po kami at 5 o'clock. Then by 5:15, nasa gate 2.5 na po kami. So feel free to join us. And yun nga, Sanggu would like to thank all our partners for the past few months of this term, ASS included. This just goes to show that Sanggu is not limiting its doors and it's willing to partner with everyone talaga to reach as many Ateneans as possible, because at the end of the day we all just want a better LS community, especially us when that's one of our primary responsibilities, each and every Atenean.
Okay, all right. Again, we thank our guests this morning. We have Kit Kat and Tafsi from the Ateneo Environmental Science Society, and we have JB from the Sanggunian ng mga mag-aaral. Maraming salamat sa
Thank you, guys.
pagpunta ngayon. Okay, some announcements lang po, no? Again, we are announcing. Oh, naubos na yung announcement namin ni Sir Ino, pero ito, yung huli, yung hindi pa natatapos. Again, on September 28th, that's next Saturday, this coming
Yes.
Saturday actually, we will have our orientation and fellowship for parents of student leaders.
Yes.
So sana nakuha na ninyo yung
mga letters,
invitations ninyo. Ayan, makakapunta ba? Ayan, okay. So it will be again on September 28th, 2019. That's this coming Saturday at the Faber Hall Function Room, Faber Hall 101. This is open to parents of the heads of organizations, COA and Alliance organizations, COP, Sanggunian, and this is also open to the moderators, to your moderators. So sana
Yes, invite nyo. Yes.
makapunta rin sila. For more information, you may send an email to us via osa.ls@ateneo.edu or to our coordinator for training and resource management, Mr. Mark Lugtu at mlugtu@ateneo.edu. Coming next po, no, at 11 a.m., we will have the Jesuit Hour with Father Nono Alfonso. Ayan, the Jesuit Hour. Ayan, dapat ganyan, parang Resorts World Manila lang. Ayan. So, abangan nyo lang po lahat po ng mga iba pang programa ngayon dito sa Radyo Katipunan this entire Monday. Mamaya rin po ang Lundagin Mo Baby. Ang paborito namin i-promote ni Sir Ino, Lundagin Mo Baby. Kasama po si Dr. Jovi Miroy at si Sir Ron Kapinding. Sir Ron, matagal na birthday niyo pero belated happy birthday ulit, Sir Ron. Ayan, moderator kasi Sir Ron nung fourth year high school. Wala lang. Hi, Sir Ron. Ayan, magandang umaga po. Salamat po ulit sa pagsama sa amin dito sa LeadX this beautiful Monday morning, September 23, 2019. 93 days away from Christmas. No? Sana naghahanda na rin kayo for your buburaw tayo ng Christmas station ID. Wow!
Ay, tumango talaga.
Totoo nga yata. Okay, once again, I am Neil Reyes.
And I'm Justin Viray.
And we are from the Loyola School's Office of Student Activities, and this has been LeadX. See you again next week. Good morning, everyone.